Hi, this video is an overview of the resources we've pulled together to share with you to give you a little bit more information about a gap analysis and pestle analysis. Okay, so we're going to start over here in the menu link for collaboration meetings. We'll go to collaboration 2. And we will start with the slide deck. Alrighty, this is a slide deck we shared in the last meeting. So you'll see some information here. Quick overview of needs assessment. There are several components, and these aren't all of them. There are lots of different analyses that go into a needs assessment. We've identified GAP and PESTLE as two things to work on in this particular effort that we're doing, but just know that needs analysis can go very deep. They can go into a lot of different directions in analyzing situations to come up with recommendations based on data. We are focusing on two types of analysis that are common in needs assessments, which are GAP and PESTLE. Okie dokie. So coming down here, needs assessment. This is what we did in our first collaborations deliverable. Looked at what's a problem we're trying to address, what's a question that we have, what's an issue that we think is out there that needs to be addressed, thinking about goals and objectives, thinking about what data we need and how we might collect that data. In step 2, we looked at who's affected by the assessment. So those are your stakeholders. This helps you identify where to look for data, helps you think about all the folks that are touched by the work that you're doing. It's often not just one group of stakeholders that you need to involve to make this thing happen. So for a gap analysis, we are looking at where are we at now, where do we want to be, and that space in between where we are now and where we want to be is the gap. That's where our action plan comes in. Let me move this video out of the way over here. Okay. For the gap analysis, we can think about this cycle of we found a problem, or we think we have a problem to solve. Why is there a problem? What type of problem is it? How might we address it? And then that might lead us back into rethinking our problem. So this is a cycle. It's not meant to be a closed loop, so that as you gain more information and insight, it can change organically in response to what you learn. So down here, what's our current state? What's our desired state? And then there's our gap. So that's that first 3 boxes here on this chart. This part I think is really important. Is the gap due to knowledge, skill, or practice? Is it a people problem? Is it a resource problem? Is it an institutional, organizational problem? Trying to really get at what type of problem this is, because that leads you to be able to identify ways that you will solve it. If it's a people problem, you'll address this differently. You know, like it's a lack of knowledge or a lack of training or a lack of understanding in a particular area. That's a different solution space than this is an institutional issue that's going to require some broader change and within that institutional problem, there are probably people problems too, but being able to frame that helps you hone in on the types of solutions that you're going to be identifying. And then methods used to identify this gap. So how do you know this? We don't want to go on gut feelings. Sometimes our gut is right, but to make change and get buy-in from folks who can help us make these changes, we need data. We need to say certain, with some certainty, look, here's what I examined, here's the data that I found, and here's why this gap exists, with some evidence. We want to make evidence-based decisions, not just saying, well, I think, I believe. People are less likely to take us seriously when we don't have data. Connecting with our IR team, which I think is only Garrett right now, Garrett Wagers, and to let him know that there may be data requests coming, and to loop him in with our project. So please know that I'm working on that to get us linked in with IR data. Okay, so that's our gap analysis. And let me get over here. We did an activity where we did a mini gap analysis on some common problems that happen in our lives or that we could relate to, just to get get our minds into this thinking process. So you can take a look at those if you did not participate in this session. And then PESTLE. So again, PESTLE is an acronym standing for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. These are out of our control, but definitely have to be considered in the success of any effort that we work to achieve. So identifying these gets them on our radar. It helps us know who to talk to, helps us know what resources we need to gather, what data we need to gather. So please put some thought into these as well. That's the second part of your worksheet that's due. We did not get to this part of the activity. We had such rich discussions. We just ran out of time. So we will come back to these for anyone who would like to revisit those in the upcoming session. The idea with the deliverables that you're doing on your own is that you're getting some work done and putting some thought into things and coming to the next session with questions that we can all debrief on and discuss and brainstorm together as a whole group. So putting that thought in ahead of time is very valuable to moving our discussion forward. It's a bit of a flipped classroom model where we have you do some work outside to front load what's happening going forward. Yep, and here I will post a video for you. That'll be video number 3 in this series for this week of how to create a blog post. Most folks have seen that. I'm going to do it from the student side so you can also see how to comment on each other's blog posts. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if I can be of any help at all. My phone number goes straight to my phone. You can text me. I love texting. It's often easier than a call because you can do it, low key in a meeting. You can respond to people. So please call, text, or email if you have any questions at all, or stop in at the CTL second floor, back in the corner by room 202. Thanks so much. Have a great day.